Watch any SpongeBob episode and you'll notice something strange. Bikini Bottom feels like the entire world. SpongeBob goes to work, comes home, hangs out at Goo Lagoon. The show keeps you in this bubble where nothing exists beyond the city limits. But step outside those borders and you'll find places that don't follow Bikini Bottom's rules. Today, we're looking at 3 locations outside Bikini Bottom that show you just how dangerous the ocean really is. But before we begin, I'd just like to kindly ask you all to subscribe. It's completely free, and it really helps us improve the videos for this wonderful community we've managed to build. Anyway, that's enough. Let's begin. Rock Bottom showed up in the Season 1 episode of the same name, and quickly became one of the most iconic locations in the series. It sits in a deep-sea trench right underneath Bikini Bottom, and we first see it when SpongeBob and Patrick get on the wrong bus home from Glove World. The episode aired on March 15th, 2000, pulled over 2 million viewers, and from the very first scene, you can tell that Rock Bottom is the complete opposite of everything normal about life up above. It starts with SpongeBob and Patrick leaving Glove World after a fun day at the glove-themed amusement park. They get on a bus that drops straight down a cliff at a 90-degree angle into the darkness below. Patrick freaks out right away, and when SpongeBob steps off the bus to grab a schedule, the next ride back to Bikini Bottom shows up. Patrick hops on without waiting. SpongeBob comes back to an empty bus stop, completely alone. This is where the nightmare begins. Rock Bottom sits in what the show calls an aphotic zone, basically the deepest part of the ocean where sunlight can't reach at all. Streetlights are the only thing keeping it from being pure blackness, and when those go out, SpongeBob calls it advanced darkness. That line became one of the most quoted moments in the whole show, and eventually turned into a meme where fans swap out darkness for anything they find overwhelming. The buildings down here are made from rocks and raw ocean floor material, all rough and unstable. Nothing about the layout makes sense either. Signs are written in English, but put up in weird directions. Arrows pointing where down should be up. Labels flipped sideways or turned completely upside down. The whole place feels like it was built to confuse anyone who doesn't belong there. The people who live in Rock Bottom are just as strange. The show's creators designed them after real deep-sea creatures, glowing animals with features that light up and fade in the darkness. One of them is a red anglerfish with a bright lure hanging from his head. Others have stretched out bodies, sharp teeth, see-through skin, and huge eyes made for seeing in almost no light. Real deep-sea fish actually look like this because they've adapted to survive extreme pressure and total darkness. And the show turned that real science into character designs that feel completely alien next to anyone from Bikini Bottom. On top of all that, SpongeBob can't even talk to anyone. Rock Bottom residents speak by blowing raspberries between their words, which turns every sentence into nonsense for outsiders. When SpongeBob asks the ticket master at the bus station for help, the answer comes back as, "I can't, raspberry, understand, raspberry, your accent, raspberry." SpongeBob shoots back with, "I can't understand your accent because the sounds make every word impossible to follow." He can't ask for directions, can't buy a ticket, can't even have a basic conversation. He's completely cut off. The rest of the episode plays out as one failure after another, each one worse than the last. SpongeBob tries to catch a bus back to Bikini Bottom and misses every single one. A bus shows up and the doors close right before he gets there. Another one pulls in, something grabs his attention for half a second, and it drives off without him. He waits in a huge line at the station for what feels like forever, finally gets to the front, and the ticket master tells him the next bus leaves in 5 seconds. He runs for it, barely misses it, and then gets the worst news yet. That was the last bus until morning. After that, the station shuts down completely. Lights off. Ticketmaster gone. SpongeBob pulls out his glove flashlight, a souvenir from Glove World, and it works for about 2 seconds before the battery dies. Now he's standing in total darkness, trying to keep himself calm, when he hears something, a raspberry sound, far away at first, but getting closer. He freezes. The sound keeps coming toward him through the pitch black. SpongeBob takes off running toward the cliff in a panic. The raspberry gets louder and louder, right behind him now. He yells out a weak threat, Then a bright light hits him and he screams. It's the friendly red anglerfish holding SpongeBob's lost glove balloon from Glove World. The anglerfish blows it up and ties it to SpongeBob's wrist, and the balloon lifts him straight up the cliff, all the way back to Bikini Bottom. He lands right outside his pineapple house. On the way up, he passes Patrick, who got on a bus heading back down to Rock Bottom because he thought SpongeBob was still stuck there. SpongeBob keeps floating. He's not going back. The episode ends with Patrick trapped in the same nightmare. The whole idea for the episode came from series writer Mr. Lawrence, who remembered getting on the wrong bus as a kid and being scared when the driver wouldn't let him off until the route was finished. That real fear of being stuck somewhere you don't know found its way right into how Rock Bottom was designed. The episode was written by Paul Tibbitt, Ennio Torresan, and David Fain, and fans have always ranked it as one of the best the show ever made. The location didn't even show up again for 17 years, until Out of the Picture in season 10. Rock Bottom works because it attacks you from every angle. You can't talk to anyone because the language makes no sense. You can't find your way because the signs are designed to mislead you. You can't leave because the cliff is impossible to climb on your own. The darkness messes with your head, and the strange residents make you feel like you don't belong. The episode took something as simple as getting on the wrong bus and turned it into a real fear, because the setting nails exactly what it feels like to be completely, hopelessly lost. That kind of isolation is scary enough on its own, but the next location shows you something even worse than being stuck alone. It's what happens when an entire city falls apart around you while you're standing right in the middle of it. New Kelp City showed up in the season 5 episode, Whatever Happened to SpongeBob, and brings a totally different kind of danger. Rock Bottom traps you with darkness and confusion. New Kelp City looks like a real, working city from the outside, until you step inside and realize the whole place has fallen apart from the inside out. The episode aired on October 13th, 2008, under the other title, Who Bob What Pants, and drew 7.7 million viewers, making it the most watched show on TV that night. The beginning of the episode is rough to watch. SpongeBob spends the whole first part accidentally causing problems for everyone around him. He cracks Gary's shell by hugging him too tight, destroys Patrick's mother's birthday cake by tripping into it, wakes Squidward up from a nap, breaks Sandy's robot while trying to help, and deep fries Mr. Krabs' money at the Krusty Krab. Every single mess happens because SpongeBob is honestly trying to be helpful, but his friends don't care about the reason. They just see the damage. One by one, they call him Idiot Boy and tell him to leave. SpongeBob, believing he really is nothing but a burden, writes a goodbye note saying everyone would be better off without him and walks out of Bikini Bottom for good. On his way out of town, he falls off a cliff and hits his head hard enough to lose his memory completely. He wakes up not knowing his own name, his friends, or a single thing about his life. Two shady fish find him lying on the ground and see a chance to take advantage. They tell him his name is Cheesehead Brown Pants and steal everything he owns, except a bottle of bubble soap in his pants pocket. SpongeBob believes every word because he has no memory to tell him otherwise. He walks into New Kelp City with no idea who he is or where he came from. The city was made as a parody of New York City. The name copies it. The local newspaper is called the New Kelp Times. From far away, it looks great, all gray and blue skyscrapers stretching up through the water. But up close, the whole picture changes fast. The streets are covered in trash, the windows are boarded up and cracked, rust covers everything, and slimy puddles have spread across whole blocks. Hardly anyone is outside, and no cars are moving through the streets. The city looks empty because everyone is hiding in their homes, too afraid to come out. The reason why is posted on signs all over the place. No bubbles allowed by order of the Bubble Poppin' Boys. A gang has been running New Kelp City through fear for years. The very first person SpongeBob bumps into, a green fish, immediately accuses him of trying to pick his pockets and calls him a jobless deadbeat. Nobody trusts anyone here. And when SpongeBob blows a bubble to calm his nerves, every person who sees it screams and runs, because blowing bubbles is against the law. When bubbles pop near the gang members, the stuff inside turns their eyes red and makes them angry. The Bubble Poppin' Boys are the ones keeping the city under control. They dress in leather jackets, slick their hair back, and snap their fingers together when they show up. A clear parody of tough guy gangs from musicals like West Side Story and Grease. The episode even got Ray Liotta, known for playing gangsters in movies like Goodfellas, to voice the gang leader. The old mayor, who looks just like Bikini Bottom's mayor, couldn't do anything to stop them. The gang had been in charge for so long that people just gave up and accepted it as the way things were. When the Bubble Poppin' boys spot SpongeBob blowing bubbles, they chase him through the streets. SpongeBob tries to get away by blowing up a bubble raft, but the gang pops it with slingshots and he falls to the ground. His soap bottle spills into a puddle on the road. With the gang closing in from every side, SpongeBob shoves his hand into the puddle and blows one giant bubble with no wand at all. The bubble grows huge, swallows all the gang members, traps them inside, and floats them right out of the city. People start coming out of hiding for the first time in years. A man walks up to SpongeBob and asks if he knows what he just did. SpongeBob says no, he still doesn't remember anything. The man tells him he just saved the whole city. Everyone floods the streets, blowing bubbles to celebrate, and the old mayor names SpongeBob the new mayor of New Kelp City. SpongeBob takes the job, even though he admits in his speech that he doesn't actually know what a mayor does. Back in Bikini Bottom, Patrick and Sandy find SpongeBob's goodbye note and feel terrible about what they said to him. Without SpongeBob making Krabby Patties, the Krusty Krab falls apart. Customers start rioting. Sandy builds a device to track down sponges, but Squidward, who's happy SpongeBob is gone, smashes it with a mallet. Mr. Krabs bribes Squidward with a Fabergé egg to get him to help, and they all go looking for SpongeBob on foot. They find him in New Kelp City giving a speech. He doesn't know who any of them are. His friends end up grabbing him and dragging him back to the Krusty Krab, where Squidward slips on a spatula and accidentally throws the egg right into SpongeBob's head. The hit brings his memory back. Everything comes flooding in at once. SpongeBob forgives his friends, but says he has to go back because New Kelp City still needs him. Right then, a news report comes on. The bubbles in New Kelp City have gotten so thick that nobody can see anything, and the city is falling apart all over again. A construction worker shows up on TV and says he wants to hurt Mayor Cheesehead Brownpants the next time he sees him. SpongeBob changes his mind immediately. Squidward opens his own head and tosses his brain in the garbage. New Kelp City is a place that's been broken for so long that one hero can't fix it. The gang had the city locked down until everything that holds a community together just fell apart. SpongeBob got rid of them by accident, not because he had a plan, and the moment he left, new problems showed up to take the gang's place. His bubble policy made things worse instead of better. Some places outside Bikini Bottom can't be saved by one big moment. The problems go too deep for that. Before we move on, make sure to subscribe if you're enjoying this breakdown. Rock Bottom traps you. New Kelp City breaks you. But the last place on this list does something neither of those locations even comes close to. And the reason nobody ever talks about making it back from there is the darkest detail in the entire franchise. Shell City showed up in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie in 2004, and it's the most dangerous place outside Bikini Bottom by far. The name is a trick. Shell City sounds like a real town, somewhere with people and buildings and life. It's actually a gift shop on the surface called Shell City Marine Gifts and Sundries, filmed at Paradise Cove Beach in Malibu, California for the movie's live-action scenes. It's about 6 days away from Bikini Bottom, through some of the most dangerous parts of the ocean, and everyone back home has heard of it. Nobody who went there ever came back. The movie introduces Shell City through Plankton's Plan Z. He steals King Neptune's crown and sends it to Shell City so that Mr. Krabs takes the blame. Neptune shows up at the Krusty Krab, accuses Krabs of stealing it, freezes him solid right there, and says he'll be put to death. A hungover SpongeBob, who showed up late and made everything worse, promises Neptune he'll go get the crown back. Neptune gives him 10 days, but Patrick talks the deadline down to 6. If SpongeBob doesn't return with the crown in time, Mr. Krabs is done for. Before they head out, Neptune's daughter Mindy warns SpongeBob and Patrick about something called the Cyclops, a monster that takes sea creatures and never brings them back. SpongeBob and Patrick leave in the Patty Wagon, a car shaped like a Krabby Patty that was stored under the Krusty Krab. They drive past the county line, the edge of Bikini Bottom, and the ocean gets more dangerous right away. They make it through a massive trench full of huge, sharp-toothed monsters, nearly giving up in the middle of it until Mindy shows up and gives them fake seaweed mustaches. She tells them the mustaches magically turn them into men. They believe her, and that boost of confidence is enough to get them through the rest of the trench alive. On the other side, they run into Dennis, a hitman in a leather jacket that Plankton hired to get rid of them. Dennis rips off the mustaches, tells them the whole thing was fake, and gets ready to step on them. Right before his boot comes down, a way bigger boot crushes Dennis from above. It belongs to the Cyclops, a human deep-sea diver in a heavy diving suit with a round glass helmet. To sea creatures, the glass part looks like one giant eye, which is how he got the name. The Cyclops scoops SpongeBob and Patrick into a net and carries them up to the surface. The movie switches from animation to live action as the real world takes over. The Cyclops brings them to Shell City, a small wooden shack with a clam-shaped sign that reads, "Shell City, Marine Gifts and Sundries," in red letters. Inside, SpongeBob and Patrick find something awful. Hundreds of dead sea creatures that have been dried out and turned into cheap stuff for tourists, stuck on wall plaques, made into lamps and keychains and little decorations. According to the people who made the movie, the shop has exactly 1,007 dead creatures in it. Every single one of them used to be alive. SpongeBob and Patrick spot King Neptune's crown sitting on a shelf. They actually made it to the end, but the Cyclops puts them on a table under a heat lamp built to dry out sea creatures. The lamp turns on, and their bodies start to shrink and crack as the water leaves them. They can barely move. They accept that this is the end. They start singing Goofy Goober Rock as they dry up, and in their last moments, they cry. Real tears, thinking about their friendship and everything they went through together. Those tears roll off the table, hit the floor, and reach the heat lamp's wiring. The water causes a short circuit. Sparks shoot from the base. The fire alarm goes off, and the sprinkler system kicks in. Water rains down across the whole shop, hits SpongeBob and Patrick, and fills them back up completely. They come back to life. The water hits the rest of the shop too. All 1,007 dried out creatures absorb it and wake up. Crabs start crawling. Starfish start moving. Hundreds of creatures come back at once, figure out what happened to them, and go after the Cyclops. SpongeBob and Patrick grab the crown and escape while the chaos unfolds. The movie was directed by series creator Steven Hillenburg and made over $140 million around the world. The Shell City part became one of the most talked about moments in the film. The switch from animation to live action felt shocking in a way the show had never tried before. SpongeBob and Patrick left the cartoon world and entered the real one, and the difference between the bright, colorful ocean and that dark little shop full of dead creatures hit audiences hard. Shell City means death. That's it. The gift shop is a graveyard dressed up as a store. Every creature that ends up there gets caught by the Cyclops, put under the heat lamp, dried out until they die, and sold as a souvenir. He doesn't know that these creatures can think and feel. To him, they're just objects with a price tag. SpongeBob and Patrick only made it out because of a chain of events that should never have happened. They cried at exactly the right time. Their tears hit the wiring. The short circuit turned the sprinklers on. That kind of luck doesn't come around twice. The 1,007 creatures already on those shelves when they showed up are all the proof you need. Every one of them went to Shell City and didn't get that miracle. All 3 locations follow a clear pattern, and each one is worse than the last. Rock Bottom traps you through darkness, confusion, and a language you can't speak. You can't talk to anyone, can't figure out where you are, and can't get out on your own. New Kelp City breaks you through crime and collapse. The whole city stopped working a long time ago, and one person can't put it back together. Shell City kills you and sells your body as a gift shop item. Each place takes away something basic. Rock Bottom takes your ability to connect with people. New Kelp City takes your sense of safety. Shell City takes your life. The show keeps you inside Bikini Bottom for a reason. The Krusty Krab runs fine, the houses are bright and friendly, Problems show up and get solved. These 3 locations destroy all of that comfort. Once you cross the border, you're in an ocean that doesn't care if you make it home. SpongeBob's adventures stay local because leaving means putting everything on the line, and most of the time, the ocean doesn't give you a way back. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.